President said, I agree with. Your property, since Mr. Lee has been on the council, we've had the biggest property taxes ever. Property taxes need to go down. If I was on this council, if I was the city manager, they would have no problem reducing property taxes 25%, and there would be no impact on services. Everybody would have more money. They'd be able to put it in their homes instead of the property taxes are increasing because of the failures of the city manager. The city manager has failed.
Mr. Berglund, you do not get to attack city staff. Please refer to a professional, respectful commentary on your thoughts about what we should do with our tax levy.
With all due respect, Ms. Mayor, I am being very respectful and dignified, and you are just interrupting me.
Mr. Berglund, your time is up. Thank you very much.
And I think you can actually understand what goes on in this
And
city.
council members,
There's no transparency.
Mr. Berglund, you are out of order. Public comment is done for you. Is there anyone else who would like to share any ideas? Mr. Berglund, you're out of order. Please take your seat. Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to share public comment concerning what we should do for our 2026 tax levy? I don't see anyone else who would like to speak, and therefore, council members, we are concluded with our agenda, and I will adjourn our meeting. Thank you. Let us take, 5 minutes so that we can make the changeover, and then we will be back and start with the business of the council. Thank you. To the Monday, August 25th, 2025 Maplewood City Council meeting. As most of you probably have noticed, there's a change in the weather. The state fair is here, and this morning I actually saw geese gathering, and they know something ahead of us. I will say that this weekend I had the benefit of taking a canoe ride on the St. Croix, and the sumac is starting to change. So what that means is school is about to open, and I just want to remind everyone that the school buses will be out next week, and to please drive safely, pay attention to that school bus arm. It is there for a purpose. There's going to be a lot of kids, and they're all wanting to get safely to their first days of school. And for parents, I've talked to some of my friends. I have grown-up children, but parents are probably really looking forward to next Tuesday. I've heard that from my friends, and I do remember those days. So just remember, it is fall, time is changing, and one other good thing that's going to be happening, we're going to be concluding very soon, well, maybe in a month or two, the road projects in the city of Maplewood. So the season is changing, so let's acknowledge that, but keep those kids safe. So why don't we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. City Clerk Sint, would you do our roll call for us?
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Councilmember Cave. Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
I am here as well. Thank you for that. First thing we have is the approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve the agenda. Further discussion, I would like to amend the agenda and add on under, right after council presentations, it would be number 3, and it would be a resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon, Parks and Recreation Commission. Any further discussion? Do I need to make that as a friendly amendment, Mr. Beatty? Want to
Madam Mayor,
direct us?
yes, you should.
Okay, then I will make that as a friendly amendment, so we need a second for that, too.
Second.
Okay. I made the amendment, and it was seconded by Juniman, and Cave gets a third on that one. Just for the record. Why not? Okay, so we have a motion, an amended motion, or we can vote on it together now, it's been included, correct? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Beatty. We want to make you work a little bit tonight. Okay, so all those in favor of the amended agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries, so we have our agenda for tonight set. Let's start with the approval of the minutes. We have the August 11th, 2025 City Council Workshop Meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I
So
move
moved.
approval.
Second.
Moved by Jitman, seconded by Lee. The motion to approve the August 11th, 2025 City Council Workshop Meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Councilmember Cave sustains, or abstains, thank you. That motion carries. Next, we have the August 11th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman, the motion to approve the August 11th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
That motion carries, and there's one abstention. Thank you for that. Moving on to administrative presentations. Mr. Sable, this is your topic.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just a few items that to kind of talk through. I appreciate the work that took place in the concurrent meeting with the EDA, and so we did adopt the EDA strategic plan, so I really appreciate that. Just to forecast a couple of items that are coming into the future. In September 8th, we will have a preliminary levy discussion. We will also have an opportunity to hear our 2025 community survey results. Those are, and you've seen the document there, but we're actually going to have a presentation from the individuals that actually did that did the survey. We do also then will have coming up a rehab loan program adoption and agreements coming in the future. And then on September 22nd, we're also going to have a conversation around the YMCA, MCC, and the building discussion. We've had some water intrusion in the gym floor at the Y. I want to be able to talk through that. And then we'll also see the climate mitigation plan. So those are some big items. There is a note that a transit discussion is coming that is going to be pushed out a little bit further. We've had some initial meetings with Metro Transit on potentially what that could look like. So that will be later in the year. And I just want to forecast a couple of items. So Friday, September 19th is the Friday fireworks. It's growing into its event, so we're getting lots of interest, and that will be at Hazelwood Park from 5 to 8. And then the day before, I'll just note that the Juniper grand opening will be at 2:30 on September 18th, that Thursday. So really exciting progress on that project, and we'll be able to actually get to inside and see what it looks like. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Question for Mr. Sable? Hearing none. Okay, then moving on, we have no council presentations tonight. We do have a resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon. Mr. Love, you are the presenter for this tonight. Do you have a copy of this?
Mayor and council, I do not have a copy of that.
I give mine. I give mine.
Or do you want to have Audra do it? That might make some sense. Sorry, we didn't get all the copies out there. We wanted to make sure that we did this. This is very important.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Tonight, we're here to ask you to approve a resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon, 30-year member of the Parks and Recreation Commission. And it's just hard to even know where to start to say things about Craig, but a little background I'll give you is Craig resigned as a member of the Park and Rec Commission on August 14th of 2025, but before that, Mr. Brannon served on the commission for 30 years, from March 20th of 1995 to August 14th of 2025. And Craig was instrumental in the development of Sunset Ridge Park after moving to Maplewood in 1993 and recognizing the need for a park in his neighborhood. So I believe, Craig, if I'm right, you got a petition going to get a park at Sunset and worked with the then Parks Director, Bruce Anderson. And after that, he was asked to join the commission and then became his tenure with Maplewood Parks and Recreation Commission. And then after joining the commission, he was involved in and provided guidance across all areas of Maplewood Parks and Recreation, including the 2015 Park Systems Master Plan, the Wakefield Community Building, recreation programming, parks and trail development, and community engagement. And Craig also served as the Parks and Rec Commission representative most recently for the Climate Mitigation Task Force. He has been an amazing ambassador for Maplewood Parks and Recreation and an invaluable member of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and we were so lucky to have him. And some of the things I asked Craig what he really remembers what his contributions were, and he was an advocate for really getting into rating our parks, playgrounds, getting the trails and parks rated, especially playgrounds, and then wanting them replaced based on what those scores were. That was something that Craig did. Let's see, what was the other thing you told me? There's so many, there's just so many things. He's had his hand in everything. Big advocate for trails and biking and trails and connectivity. He's the one that really pushed for having a meeting where we just talked about trails and connectivity in Maplewood as part of the Park Commission's goals. He was a big proponent of when we replace trees in the parks to make sure we're not planting all the same kind of tree, but diversifying the species so that we don't run into the same problem we did with elm trees and then ash trees. That was a big, big thing that Craig did, and just so many other things. So we're just so lucky to have had him for 30 years. So I appreciate that you're considering this resolution of appreciation for him tonight, so.
Thank you, Audra.
Thanks.
And I have to say, Craig, that you have made so many little kids happy. My kids benefited from Sunset Park, loved that park, as did all of the kids in the neighborhood. And your contribution, it's important to recognize all that you have done for our community, that we wanted to make sure we got this on the agenda tonight because we are grateful. You truly exhibit being a committed resident, but also giving your time and your energy and all of your effort to make our community so much better. And, we thank you for the safety of our parks, that, all of our playgrounds were graded, and that we actually have staff who are qualified to do that. And you were instrumental in a lot of those kinds of things. You made a lot of people, a lot of families, you impacted a lot of families. And so from all of them, I want to say thank you. So. Councilmember Villavicencio is going to read the resolution, and then, council members, we are going to vote on it. So Councilmember Villavicencio, she is our liaison to the Parks and Rec Board, or Commission.
And I just want to say, I was on the Park and Recs Commission, and when Craig was there when I first got on there, and he was such a great mentor, and I always looked to him for just array of detail-orientated advice that he gave, and his connection to Maplewood, and the way that he was a commissioner was just so exemplary. It just shows how Maplewood is just full of awesome people that dedicate and serve their community. So I love to say this resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon. Whereas Craig Brannon has been a member of the Parks and Recs Commission from March 20, 1995 to August 14th, 2025, and whereas Craig Brannon faithfully served the city of Maplewood as a Parks and Recs Commissioner for an extraordinary 30 years, demonstrating unwavering commitment to the preservation, enhancement, and stewardship of our community's natural spaces, and whereas throughout his tenure, Commissioner Brannon has been a tireless advocate for inclusive recreation, environmental sustainability, and the enrichment of public parks, contributing to countless improvements that have benefited generations of Maplewood residents. And whereas his leadership and vision has helped shape Maplewood's park system into a vibrant network of green spaces that foster community wellness and joy, including his support of youth programs, trail expansions, and conservation initiatives. And whereas Craig Brannon's legacy is reflected in the preservation of natural habitats, the enhancement of trails and greenways, and the creation of spaces that foster joy, health, and unity across generations. And whereas the city of Maplewood recognizes and celebrates the profound impact of Craig Brannon's service and expresses deep gratitude for his commitment to enriching the lives of all who call Maplewood home. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Maplewood, Minnesota, and on behalf of its residents, that Craig Brannon is extended gratitude and appreciation for his extraordinary contributions to our parks, our people, and our shared future, adopted by the City Council on August 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Council members, would someone like to make that motion?
I move the resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon.
Second.
Moved by Judeman, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve a resolution of appreciation for Craig Brannon. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Craig, we would like to take a picture. Do you want to come up? Would you like to say something? Okay. And then we want to get a picture.
So I felt very honored to be able to serve for 30 years on the commission and feel like I did make some good contributions, and I'm going to miss it. Thanks.
We're going to miss you. You did a lot of wonderful things for our community. Let's all go take a picture.
Yep, I'll take care of this. Get in there. I'm going to take it.
We got pictures.
All right. Easy and tight. And I'll do my Joe Sharon in 1, 2, 3. I got a lot of them. Thank you so much. We'll get you. I'm going to get those to you. You can get them on the Facebook and everything. You don't have to stay for the rest if you don't want to.
Moving on, next is our consent agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda item G1 through 6.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman. Consent agenda items G1 through 6. Any further discussion? I would like to separate out G4 for voting separately.
Oh.
So it's,
Are we doing that correctly?
Madam Mayor, yes. I think what you're saying is there can be a separate vote on all consent agenda items except that one, and then a separate vote on number 4.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're voting on G1 through 3 and then 5 through 6. All those in favor of consent agenda items G1 through 3 and 5 through 6 indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have a conditional use permit review for the American Cooperative on Lake Phelan. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move G4.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave. The conditional use permit review, G4, for the American Cooperative on Lake Phelan. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I'm going to abstain from that. Thank you, from that vote. So, moving on, we have no public hearings, no unfinished business. And now we move on to the Ramsey Washington Metro Watershed District Stewardship Grant for Maplewood Police Department Rain Garden. And let's see, Mr. Darrow, you're going to be presenting this tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Really excited about this one. Before I start, I want to give a special thank you to our management intern, Colin View, who really spearheaded this. I also want to thank Sean Finwall for her work. Sean is our sustainability coordinator. Both of them had a really active role in pursuing the grants and assisting with this. So tonight we're seeking a motion to accept up to $20,000 in funding for a rain garden project in front of the police department. The city would contribute approximately $7,600 to the project, with planting anticipated this fall. After a competitive bid process, we've awarded Land Bridge to construct and plant the rain garden beginning in September.
Cool. Isn't that cool?
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, council members? Would someone like to make the motion?
I move to approve funding for, excuse me, from the Ramsey Washington Metro Watershed District for up to $20,000 toward a rain garden project at the entrance to the police department.
Second. Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave. The motion as outlined in our packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Next, we have the Metro INET lease agreement. Mr. Folds, I'm going to take it, Mr. Darrow. Okay.
Hello.
Mr. Darrow.
Me again.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, no problem. Metro INET provides IT services to communities and organizations throughout the Metro, about 33 different communities and organizations, including the city of Maplewood. Currently, Metro INET is located in the police department in Roseville, and the department needed additional space, so Metro INET looked at a couple different communities, and we worked with them beginning in around April, and they toured some space up at 1902. This is the space that was previously occupied by our community development department. It's approximately 2,600 square feet. And so we have before you a 5-year lease, which would generate $162,000. Just a little over that over 5 years, or about $3,066 per month. The lease would run from January 2026 through December of 2030. And we've had the lease reviewed by our city attorney, and I am happy to stand for any questions. Otherwise, there's a motion to approve a 5-year lease with Metro INET.
Thank you. Any questions, council members? No. Sorry, Mr. Folds. I think IT, and you're sitting there, so I just assumed it was you. Sorry, Mr. Sable.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So I wanted to specifically call out Mr. Folds, because not only is it natural that this would be his item, but one of the things that we take seriously in our roles as city staff is that we be engaged in our counterparts. And so Mr. Folds actually serves on the board of Metro INET, and so he had put on his other hat and actually will approve this item when they have their board meeting. I want to also thank Mike Darrow for leading this work. I mean, this is not something that happens every day, and he grabbed it. I also want to send appreciation to Colin Vu for he also worked a lot on this one and has also been sort of single-handedly clearing out the map storage room and the other things to make the space ready. And then Steve Love and Scott Christensen from the Public Works Group, really they've done a lot of coordination and planning. So this is one of those true team efforts that is ultimately going to be a good thing for us, a good thing for Metro INET, and so we're really excited to have them move into the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen the light.
If I may make one joke, they've been in the basement, so they saw windows and they were like, "Wait, we get windows?" It was really very sweet.
That's nice. Council members, would someone like to make the motion?
I move to approve a 5-year lease agreement with Metro INET for space located within the Public Works Building, 1902.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Lee, the motion to approve a 5-year lease agreement with Metro INET for space located within the Public Works Building. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have one more agenda item. It is the resolution approving the record of decision for Century Ponds development. Ms. Parr, this is your topic tonight.
It's me, it is, yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what we're here for and what we're not here for, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about some specific things about the reason that we're here. So tonight, we're here for you to consider the environmental aspects and determine if the findings of fact and the records of decision for the Century Ponds Environmental Assessment, which is included, we'll walk through it a little bit, but it's included in your packet, also known as the EAW, if that meets the requirements for making a negative declaration regarding the need for an environmental impact statement, or an EIS. To say it in very basic terms, it's basically determine the environmental impacts that are potential to happen as a result of this development. Have we answered those questions and concerns adequately? in a way that it does not require additional review, environmental review, digging deeper into it. And that's really what the core of the question is tonight before you. This tonight is not about approving a project. It is not about approving land uses. It is not about approving density. It is not even about approving specific locations for things, parks, anything else at this point. It really speaks to that EAW or that EIS. So I want to jump in a little bit and talk about the roles. We have a number of people here tonight to help us navigate this, to help you navigate this. And so I want to talk about what each of those roles is and how we can be helpful in that regard. So, and also so the public understands the roles people play, because it's really, it matters, it's important. So when we talk about the RGU, we're talking about the responsible governmental unit, which is us, the city of Maplewood. The project proposer, obviously, is D.R. Horton with the Ponds project. They are the ones proposing it. It kicked in the need for an EAW because of the change of use and going to the residential units that you're going to see before you in the future. So that's when we knew, whoop, that kicked something in, and we need to take a closer look at this. This is laid out very specifically in state statute. The Environmental Quality Board is an entity within the state that has very clear guidelines. We needed to follow those in seeking comments, and then also in navigating our responses to that and doing it in the way that's required. As far as the project proposer consultant, Alliant, and we have them in the audience today. They're here to answer questions if you have any. They're here on behalf of D.R. Horton. They worked for D.R. Horton. They helped initially, because they're the ones helping do the project, the environmental aspects of it, often that fall under the engineering aspects. They help prepare that as a part of the future proposal, so they are most able to speak to some of the specifics in relation to it. So they kind of helped us navigate back and forth about things when we had questions, but they are the ones that were the proposer consultant on behalf of D.R. Horton. And then on behalf of the city, we don't do these every day. We deal with a lot of environmental things. Clearly, our staff does. But we wanted to have another resource that deals with them every day, that does it as their regular gig. It's really important we get it right. So we hired Kimley Horn to come in and help us as our third-party consultant for the city. They helped us review it. They helped us go through and navigate it to make sure we were doing everything as appropriate. Tonight, we have Aaron Stolte with us, and Aaron can speak to questions you might have. He's also going to kind of walk us through and talk about what is an EAW, what is an EAW not, because I think that's just as important to understand what they're not meant to be. And then talk about the actual broader conversation about what are the concerns we heard, how do we anticipate that those will be addressed as part of this development going forward. So the development itself, I think we all know where it's located. It's on the former Battle Creek Golf Course site. It's about just over 92 acres, and it has 207 units that will be proposed to be coming in a future development. Now, in the future, as I said, this is not about the land use. It's not about approvals this evening in that regard. This will be coming back before you this fall. Before it comes to you, it will be going to our Natural Resources, Environmental and Natural Resources Commission. It'll be going to our parks, and it'll also be going to our Planning Commission, and then it will come to you, and you'll have some recommendations as a part of that as well. So I will tell you, though, as a part of that proposal, there's 104 single-family homes, 73 townhome units, and as I mentioned before, it's what kicked in, those residential units from the golf course is what kicked in the requirement for the EAW. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron.
Good evening and welcome.
Mayor and Council, thank you for having me. So my name's Aaron Stolte. I'm with Kimley Horn, as Danette said. Been with Kimley Horn for about 12 years conducting environmental reviews like this one. Our home office is in St. Paul in the Case Building. I'm actually a resident of Richfield. Actually, I grew up in North St. Paul, so very familiar with Maplewood. So it's kind of fun coming full circle today. So thank you for having me. Yeah, I thought, Danette, you did a really great job of just talking about what an EAW is and what the council is tasked with doing this evening. So I'll kind of reiterate a couple points that she already made. So an EAW, it's designed to lay out the basic facts for determining if more detailed environmental review is needed. So I kind of think of it as more or less an encyclopedia of kind of all the environmental studies, permits, approvals that are conducted as part of kind of that project planning and engineering phase. So the purpose of an EAW, that's to inform the public about the project. Obviously, through permits and approvals, there are sometimes public-facing processes, but this section of Minnesota rules kind of establishes another public forum for review specific to kind of looking at all the environmental impacts. As we mentioned, it provides information on future permitting and approvals for the project, helps identify the potential impacts and appropriate mitigation. And also, as Danette said, it's an EAW that an EAW does not approve or deny a project. It just discloses what the environmental impacts are based off the current plan development. Some of the topics that are covered in an EAW, it is really a comprehensive study. So, anything from, some of the more socioeconomic issues that we would categorize, as compared to maybe natural resource, like wetlands and species. And then, so you can see on the screen, climate adaptation cover types, land use, geology and soils, water resources, which has a few subtopics, contamination, habitat and endangered species, historic properties, visual effects, greenhouse gas analysis, transportation, air and noise, and cumulative effects. And then there's also studies that, get more technical that aren't that are summarized in an EAW. So we flagged a few of those that the project proposer put in more effort to kind of study the technical details, and those are just summarized in the EAW. And then wanted to go into a little bit, summarize kind of the impacts and mitigation, and this is all within the findings of facts that is attached to the packet. So I'll just kind of go through the list here. So climate adaptation and resilience. The project design is intending to incorporate energy efficient building materials and comply with the city's landscaping ordinance, adding 453 new trees, including enhanced open space and green infrastructure. For land use, there is a comprehensive plan amendment to bring the project into compliance with differing land uses. For geology and soils, there is what we call best management practices to address water quality, runoff during construction, and those would be implemented during construction. And then a few of those best management practices are also permanent, and that's also touched on in the water quality section. Water resources, so all of the wetlands that are anticipated to be regulated on the property are anticipated to be avoided. So there's a few, from the old golf course, there's a few ponds that are not regulated under state statute. So those are the ponds that would either be filled or replaced in other locations, but all of like the natural wetland features are being avoided. For wastewater, the development is anticipated to just produce normal domestic wastewater, which is within the limitations of the existing sanitary sewer system, so there's no upgrades needed for that. Water quality, already touched on this, but runoff is going to be pre-treated in stormwater basins on site before draining into surrounding wetlands. Project is going to meet the Ramsey-Washington Metro watersheds rules, which are more stringent than state rules. So water quality will be addressed through those means. And then as far as water appropriation goes, development's going to connect to the St. Paul Regional Water Services, and it's within that capacity as well. On the contamination front, waste material and debris associated with construction is going to be contained and disposed of in a manner consistent with state laws as well as City of Maplewood ordinances. And then for protected species, there was a number of concerns that were raised here and how the project is intending on addressing these. There's going to be protective buffers that will be created around preserved wetlands and open space, establishing native vegetation and seed mixes as well as the trees that we mentioned earlier. And then the proposer is also coordinating with the DNR about the potential need for take permit to a state-listed plant species that was actually planted as part of the golf course development when the native plantings went in. The project is within the known range of the Henslow sparrow, so there's suitable habitat on site. There's a nesting window that the project would avoid if feasible. If the avoidance window cannot be abided by, then they would coordinate the surveys with the DNR and determine appropriate measures if that could not be avoided. 4 of the 8 swamp white oaks on the site are going to be preserved, and then the proposer plans on planting additional 20 trees, and 1 Kentucky coffee tree will also be preserved. And then, where possible, the native plantings will be preserved. Again, this isn't, we don't have a detailed plan to review here, but I think the developer is working hard to, preserve some of the native established spaces where feasible. And then, as far as tree clearing goes, generally speaking, clearing trees in the winter, or at least outside of sensitive nesting season, those are windows that the developer is also aware of and will work to avoid as feasible. As far as historic properties goes, the State Historic Preservation Office did recommend Phase 1 archaeological survey, which is being considered. For visual impacts, landscape plantings will be included in development per city code. For potential for air impacts, there's likely, typical construction impacts as far as some of the short-term dust and odors that, are through typical construction practices, and those would be managed through proper coordination and planning. We're almost finished here. Greenhouse gases, so development is going to also incorporate mitigation measures into the design to reduce the project's greenhouse gas emissions. For noise, the noise study recommended that windows in townhomes on the south side of the site, which faces the gun range, that those be double pane to mitigate potential for noise concerns with those future residences. And then for transportation, there's proposed development that's expected to have it's a proposed development that's anticipated to have minimal impacts to the existing transportation system. Traffic impacts will be further analyzed during the city's preliminary plat review process. So again, the development team is here to answer any detailed questions. That was just kind of a high-level overview of what's in the findings of fact document. A little bit about just how the EAW process followed Minnesota state rules. So there's a 30-day comment period that's required as part of that. That was conducted in July. There were 5 public comments that were received. Those are all discussed in the finding of fact document. Some of the themes I kind of already addressed, but concerns about water, wildlife, traffic impacts from the development, questions about sidewalk, vegetation, wastewater connections to nearby residences, and those are all, there's responses to each of those comments in the findings of fact. There were also 5 agency comments, one from MnDOT, one from MPCA, Met Council, Minnesota DNR, Ramsey, Washington. The themes there, clarifying wastewater flows and improvements, acknowledging the comp plan amendment process through the Met Council, consideration of water quality and energy conservation strategies, additional coordination needed with the DNR on state-listed species, and soil contamination investigation status, also ensuring the developer follows Ramsey, Washington Metro watershed district requirements. And Danette kind of touched on, again, this is what we're here to discuss today, the project. So I'll just read this is kind of the bar for there being additional environmental review being sought for the project. So does the project have significant environmental effects, which is defined in Minnesota rules as the type, extent, and reversibility of environmental effects, the potential for cumulative effects, the extent to which the environmental effects are subject to mitigation by ongoing public regulatory authority, and the extent to which environmental effects can be anticipated, controlled as a result of other available environmental studies undertaken by public agencies or the project proposer, including other EISs. And just through our experience conducting environmental reviews, Kimley Horn, and in coordination with Danette, Steve, and their team, feel that the project has adequately followed the Minnesota rules and that environmental impact statements would not be required for this particular development. So with that, take
Thank you.
any questions.
You know, I have one question, and maybe my fellow council members have some other questions as well. And I don't know if you're the right person or if maybe someone from Kimley Horn can answer this. In terms of historic properties, I see that an archaeological site found off-site, a Phase 1 archaeological survey is recommended. Do you know if that will be moving forward? Or if you're not the right person, then maybe Kimley Horn would know the answer to that.
Can maybe pass that one off to.
Okay. Can you comment on the, will there be an archaeological survey that's
Yep.
done?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Deb Ridgway. I'm with D.R. Horton. We have an extensive group with us today. But yes, we have ordered that archaeological survey based on the recommendation in the EAW or the comments that we had received back. So that will be underway. We probably won't get results for like another month or so, but it is underway.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councilmember Villavicencio has a question as well, and I don't know if it's for Aaron or for you, but go ahead.
My question's around the buffers, and I was wondering about the protective barriers. What's the definition of how large their buffer is?
Yes. A lot of different engineers here today.
Good evening, Dave Nash with Alliant Engineering. I'm the project engineer on it. All the buffers are set by the city of Maplewood. The width of the buffer is dictated by the quality of the wetlands. I don't have the plan in front of me, but it's somewhere up to 100 feet. Every wetland we have to meet an average and a minimum on each wetland. So some are 100 feet, some are 50 feet. I think the lowest may have been 40 feet. So, and I can tell you, Maplewood has the largest buffers of any jurisdiction that I dealt with. So they're.
Good. I'm glad.
We kind of like hearing that.
Yeah.
We do.
Yep. In fact, they far exceed Ramsey, Washington watershed. So.
Okay.
I have another question, actually,
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead.
And then it said where possible, the native trees will be preserved. Do we have a little bit more specifics about where possible? Like how many numbers?
I don't have the number. We did a full tree inventory and submitted that as part of our preliminary plat plans. If you want specific numbers, I can go back and.
I see another person who has that data.
We just keep coming.
That's all right. We want to, this is an important project, and we want to make sure that we review this.
Good evening, Mike Sewell with D.R. Horton. Glad to be back.
Good evening.
We just got to find the numbers here. There's roughly 2,450 trees on the site, and 1,236 of them will be removed, and 1,237, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the details. Hang on. There's 2,100 total significant tree dBH. Remember what
That's inches diameter,
Yeah.
that's not that many trees. It's so a 12-inch tree is a 12-inch
Yeah,
diameter.
so the calculations in Maplewood goes by caliper inches. So there's 2,100 caliper inches being removed, and there's 5,500, over 5,500 caliper inches being saved. And,
The majority of the trees we're saving are on the outside. The trees in the middle, a lot of them that were planted by the golf course are what's being removed.
and then we're also trying to protect the buffer along Century. The trees that the golf course put in, we're adding some retaining walls and such to save them, because It provides a buffer, one for Century, and helps the neighborhood, so.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Councilmember Juniman?
There are a number of places in the responses from the responsible entities have what I call strong suggestions, which is always a slippery slope if you don't follow up. It says from the Metropolitan Council that they recommend renaming rather than 39 acres of residential. This is an example, showing that there are 39, of the 39 acres of residential, that is either impervious surface or lawn landscaping, in other words, being more honest about what's happening. And so is the developer going to follow through on the places where it says you should be doing this or should be doing that?
We have another new body.
All right, one more person. Welcome.
Kara Fair with Alliant Engineering. Thank you, Mayor and council members. So if there was a suggestion to the EAW, like you just mentioned, we put it in the finding of fact as a summary. So we did take their suggestion and edited the EAW document and said how we would make that edit to the table.
So does that mean they're going to do these things?
Well, so that what you're referring to was more just of kind of how the reader can view the table. Like, are you putting the residential into this category, or are you putting it into impervious surface? So.
Okay, I have a better one.
Yep.
This will help you.
Okay.
Identify the risks to water quality and incorporate, this is the important part, incorporate mitigation strategies that protect surface water and groundwater resources. And then it goes further to say the use of conservation planting strategies. So that's the type of thing I'm wondering about, where it says energy conservation planting strategies. Is that type of thing going to be carried out?
Councilmember, can you just refresh me where you're,
This is under greenhouse gas emissions.
What page in our council packet so we can?
Page 117 of 142, and this is from Met Council. I'm just using this as a sample.
Okay, sure.
Item 18. It says anticipated greenhouse gas emissions are reasonable and the proposed mitigation measures are appropriate. The proposers should consider use of energy conservation planting strategies, such as vegetation that blah, blah. Okay, that's where I'm saying I'm in favor of the proposers should consider the use of. In other words, those are just as important to me as the things that say you must.
And what I believe the question's getting at is, what are we going to do to help cool the homes, and through planting trees in certain locations and providing shade long-term, it'll help cool the homes so they'll have less energy uses during the summer. That's the way I read that question or that comment, and that's what we plan to do. As our landscape plan shows trees around the townhomes to help cool them. We're adding more areas of native grassland, so that will help.
And you are
cool
working with our sustainability coordinator, is that correct? Sean Finwell?
Yes, we're working with Sean, I just didn't know what title she.
Yes, okay.
Yes, we've
Thank
had 2-3 meetings, I think, now already with Sean and with staff on that, so we're getting there. We've still got a lot of work to do on getting the final plan put together here, but we're getting there.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question on a couple questions, actually. So the first one is, Mayor, you touched on the archaeological site, the survey. I'm curious to know a little bit more about what that consists of. And then it mentions that it's within site proximity to others. What are those sites that are within the area?
I apologize, Kira again, Mayor and council members. The first question was more about the survey.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if anybody's worked with Two Pines Resources. They're an archaeological group here, I think out of St. Paul, if I recall. And so SHPO had asked for a Phase 1 archaeological survey. When we dug into it with them, it's more of it's called a Phase 1A. It's a desktop review. And so that's what it'll entail. So they will look through a lot of historic aerial photos, look at the soils. As you all maybe recall, this site was a golf course for 17 years, was heavily disturbed to make it a golf course, and then has laid vacant since 2021. So they'll be digging into all of that information. If they find anything on site, then we would go to a next step, which would be an on-site survey. But at this time, in talking with the archaeologists, they think a Phase 1A survey, so that desktop review, is going to satisfy the needs of the regulatory agencies.
Okay, thank you. A couple questions.
And did you have a second question that I missed, or was?
Well, the other one was, what are the other sites within the proximity, the area there? Were you able to?
Oh, how far within the? I can't remember the exact, like the distance, but. Sorry. Yeah, I need to look that up
Okay.
for a second.
I guess for that one, I would be curious to see what site it is and what did the site consist of? What was
Okay.
there? So to have an understanding of what the historical background may be for the community in the area or something like that.
And as part of the Phase 1A desktop review, they'll be identifying kind of what's around the area and then what's actually on site. So that'll be included as a summary, as part of the due diligence that will be done on the site.
Awesome, thank you. Then, Mayor, have one more question? Yep, I do, thank you, Mayor. My other question then is around the impacts to, I have a comment and then a question. The first comment I have is then, with the development on McKnight over by the other golf course, the Hillcrest area, dust was a huge issue, and that was also mentioned in the report here. So I think something that I'm very curious to understand a little bit more, perhaps in the future, or something like that, is a mitigation plan for the dust. A lot of concerned residents in that area that I talked to that had that issue. But then my question then is to the impacts to wildlife. I understand that the development, if this ever comes through, is not going to be unavoidable, but the Henslow swallow and then the rusty patch bumblebee, and those are things that continuously come up. What are some mitigation plans? And in here it mentions that they may continue. You might look into other options if you can avoid the breeding season between May 15th to July 15th. I mean, these are not just your typical sparrows. These are threatened sparrow, endangered in the country in Canada. So, what are some mitigation plans with these particular animals?
Our primary plan is going to be is not to remove the trees during the date, and if we can't do that, then my thought is we'll avoid removing trees during that date. The other date we need to be aware of that I'm surprised didn't come up is the long-eared bat. That has a different window of habitat that we can't remove, so our goal is to hopefully get through the approvals to that we could get tree clearing somewhere in March, before the long-eared bat timeframe kicks in, before the sparrow timeframe kicks in, and if we can't, the site's large and we can work around the trees, or we'll go out and survey the trees that need to come down to get started. So there are ways to mitigate the sparrow by doing some more survey work just before we start doing tree clearing. So that's our primary goal, is to try to get through before the dates start, but if it takes us longer, then we'll have to adjust our schedules and talk with our contractors, talk with Alliant, with Kara's group to see if we can even remove trees, or if there's actually sparrows out there, then we'll have to adjust. But we have plans. Some of it depends on when approvals come.
Okay. I guess one of my comment then is, we're looking at this as it's a one-year thing. It's not. This is a long-term project. This is not going to be done in a year. So, mitigating it for 1 year is not going to solve the issue. So what is that, maybe what that looks like as a long-term plan, whatever this project is going to take, how are you going to be responsible in taking part in that piece?
So the initial tree clearing will be done as one part. We'll do all the tree clearing in one time frame for the whole site. Because we, looking at the grades, some of the dirt needs to come from the north side to the south side or vice versa. So at some point you get it all touched as you do grading on the site. And it's, I think, in our mind, it's easier just to grade the whole site in one, so we get the dirt and everything placed and we get the turf established. We will work with our native landscape folks to get maintenance going on the area that's out there right now, because the county hasn't done any maintenance on the native grasses in 5-6 years, I think. So it's getting to a window where we really need to get out there and start getting something going. I know it's showing as being good, but we'll have to get our native grass peoples out there to look at it and see if is it worth saving? Is there a way we can bring it back with spraying, mowing, burns, whatever the bigger group decides, or do we need to rebuild even that? So that's why I think getting started next spring during the growing season would be good for the native grasses. And if we can get the trees cleared before the windows, things would be good. But then, as you say, we also have multiple years after that, and that's our plan, is to sign a 3-year, 4-year management with our native people to get it established. It takes 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, depending on the growing season, the last few years have been terrible, so we're extended out on other jobs. Instead of 3, we're out to 5, 6 years. So it'll take a while to get this back to what it should be for a native grass, and we understand that. And we'll plant trees we'll plant some initially, and then we'll plant some with the houses just for maintenance purposes, for the trees actually survive. And I'm sure staff has some type of program where we have to go out each year and just make sure the trees are surviving. So I think we can get there, and we do understand it's going to take 3 to 5, maybe longer, depending on the weather. So we're prepared to stay in there.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Ms. Parr, is there anything else that anyone else that we need to hear from?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, everyone that's here, the team that's here is as a resource to you. So if you have no additional questions, then the resolution for consideration is the last item before you this evening.
Thank you. Council members, any other questions? Okay, then we have a motion concerning the EAW. Would someone like to make that motion? It is found on page 82 of 142.
I motion to approve the resolution approving the record of decision and the negative declaration of the need of an environmental impact statement for Century Ponds development.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Lee. The motion as written in our packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for your areas of expertise. It helps us make better decisions. We really appreciate it. So, council members, we have concluded our agenda for tonight. I want to thank you all for your hard work and for your dedication. So with that, we are adjourned.